The blizzard on Arcanes 9 wasn't just cold, it was the kind of cold that clawed at bone, that made even steel groan under the pressure. The planet's twin moons cast a pale blue light across the desolate tundra, illuminating the lonely outpost where Captain Elias Ward sat by a dying thermal generator. The hum had slowed to a weak, uneven pulse. He had 20 minutes before it went out completely. He rubbed his hands together, his breath fogging the cracked visor of his helmet. The expedition had gone to hell 3 days ago, communication lost, transport ship destroyed, and his team scattered across the wasteland. He was alone, or so he thought. The faint crunch of footsteps echoed outside the dome. He froze. Elias reached for his pulse rifle and pointed it toward the entrance hatch. "Identify yourself," he shouted over the rising wind. No response, just another step, hesitant this time. He keyed the panel and the door hissed open, releasing a blast of icy wind that nearly knocked him backward. Standing there, barely visible through the storm, was a figure wrapped in shredded thermal fabric, her skin glimmering faintly under the moonlight, silver with faint bioluminescent lines running along her arms and neck. Her eyes, enormous and luminescent violet, blinked once. Then she stumbled forward and collapsed at his feet. Elias cursed under his breath, dropping the rifle and pulling her inside. "Damn it! What the hell are you?" he muttered, sealing the hatch again. When he removed her mask, he saw her face. Alien, yes, but unmistakably feminine. Her features were sharp but fragile, her lips trembling as she struggled for breath. He activated a portable heater, pulling off his own insulated coat and draping it over her. "Hey, stay with me," he said, kneeling beside her. For a few seconds, she didn't move. Then her voice came, soft, weak, and accented. "Warmth," she whispered. "Please." He nodded quickly, adjusting the heater closer. "You'll have it. Just don't pass out on me." Her trembling slowed as the warmth filled the small shelter. Elias studied her cautiously. Her physiology was unfamiliar, though vaguely humanoid. Her veins pulsed with faint blue light, visible even beneath the skin. He scanned her with his med unit. Oxygen levels low, body temperature critical. "You're not from the Coalition, are you?" Her eyes fluttered open, meeting his. "Coalition," she echoed. Then, after a pause, she whispered, "No, I'm from beyond your border. A fugitive." He frowned. "A fugitive? From what?" She hesitated, looking at him as though trying to decide if she could trust him. "From them. The Arendari Dominion. I escaped their ship 2 nights ago." Elias froze. The Arendari were one of the most feared empires in this sector, ruthless conquerors who enslaved species across the spiral. If she was running from them, then she was either incredibly brave or incredibly doomed. "You're lucky you found me," he said, finally standing. "I can signal a rescue once the storm clears." Her gaze softened. "You would help me?" He shrugged, trying to play it off. "I don't leave people to die. Doesn't matter what species they are." Something changed in her expression, something he couldn't quite place. She studied him quietly, as if his words didn't fit the kind of universe she knew. Hours passed. The storm howled outside, but inside the outpost, the 2 survivors sat across from each other. Elias rationed his last protein bar, splitting it in half. She took hers hesitantly, sniffed it, then nibbled the edge. He chuckled. "Don't worry. Human food's not that bad." She tilted her head. "Human. That is what you are." "Yeah," he said with a grin. "Captain Elias Ward, Terran Fleet." She repeated his name softly. "Elias." Then, after a pause, "I am Kara." "Nice to meet you, Kara. Sorry it had to be in a frozen death trap." For the first time, she smiled, barely but enough for him to notice. The generator gave a warning beep. Elias cursed again, kicking it lightly. Come on, not now. The hum dimmed even more. He looked at her. We're running out of heat. Kara's luminous eyes dimmed with worry. I can help, she said quietly. But you won't like it. He frowned. What do you mean? Her hands glowed faintly. My species can share body heat. It's how we survive cold voids. But it requires proximity. Elias blinked, realizing what she meant. You mean actual physical contact? She nodded, her expression serious. It will keep you alive too. Humans are fragile in the cold. He hesitated. She wasn't wrong. His hands were shaking, and his extremities were starting to go numb. But the idea made him nervous for reasons he didn't want to admit. All right, he said finally, rubbing his neck. Just don't drain me dry, or anything. She tilted her head in confusion. Drain? Never mind, he said quickly. Let's just do it. She moved closer, hesitant, careful. When her hand touched his, a shock of warmth spread instantly through him. Not burning, but gentle, alive. Her skin was smooth but faintly cool to the touch, yet the energy pulsing from it radiated like sunlight. She looked into his eyes. You're warm, she whispered. He laughed weakly. You're not so cold yourself. As the minutes passed, the generator finally gave out completely, but the room didn't freeze. Kara pressed closer, her forehead resting against his shoulder, her body glowing faintly brighter. You're saving my life right now, Elias murmured. No, she said softly. You saved mine first. There was a quiet between them, not empty, but deep, almost sacred. The kind of silence that spoke more than words could. Morning came. The storm had ended. Elias woke to find Kara still resting beside him, her breathing slow and calm. For a second, he forgot everything, the frozen wasteland, the danger, the war. Then the radio crackled to life. Captain Ward, this is command. Do you copy? He jolted upright. Command. I read you. We've located your beacon. Retrieval ship inbound. ETA 15 minutes. Kara stirred awake at his movement, eyes wide. They found you. He nodded, smiling. They'll get us both out. Her smile faded. No, Elias. They won't take me. Your people will hand me to the Coalition, and the Coalition will hand me back to the Dominion. He froze. She was right. The Terran fleet wasn't known for getting involved in alien politics. A fugitive from the Arendari could be seen as a liability, or worse, a diplomatic threat. There has to be a way, he said, standing. I can hide you on the ship, get you off-world. She shook her head slowly. They will scan. They will find me. And then you'll be punished. Elias clenched his fists. You think I care about that? Her expression softened again, that strange mixture of awe and confusion returning. Why? She whispered. Why would you risk yourself for me? He didn't answer right away. He didn't have to. Instead, he looked at her, really looked, and said quietly, because you asked for warmth. And I realized, I don't want you to face the cold alone again. Her breath caught, and for the first time, tears filled her luminous eyes. Elias. He turned toward the console, brain racing. If I can scramble the scanner signature, maybe fake a reading. Kara stood slowly, approaching him. You can't save me. Watch me, he said. When the rescue ship arrived, Elias walked out first, pretending calm. His breath fogged the air as two Terran officers stepped out to greet him. Captain Ward, you're alive. Barely, he said with a weak grin. Let's get this over with. I've got a frostbite report to file. They didn't notice Kara hiding behind the ruined generator dome, where Elias had reconfigured a cloaking emitter to distort her presence. But as the officers escorted him to the ship, she suddenly stepped out, visible again, her glow faint in the daylight. "Elias," she called. He turned sharply. "Kara." Before he could stop her, she walked toward him, calm, resolute. The soldiers raised their weapons, startled. "Stand down," Elias barked. She looked at him with a sad smile. "If they find me, you will suffer. I cannot let that happen." Then she pressed something into his palm, a small, crystal-like node glowing with faint blue light. "This contains my signature," she said. "If you ever seek me, it will lead you to my world." "Kara, wait." She placed her hand on his cheek. "You gave me warmth," she whispered. "Now I give you hope." And before he could react, she triggered a burst of light, the cloaking emitter reactivating with a surge of power. In seconds, she vanished into the tundra mist, leaving only her faint footprints in the snow. Days later, aboard the Terran cruiser Argus, Elias sat alone in his quarters, holding the glowing node she'd given him. He'd lied in his report, said he'd found no survivors, that the energy readings were just static interference. Nobody questioned him. Outside his window, the stars stretched endlessly, a sea of light and darkness. Somewhere out there, Kara was alive. He closed his hand around the crystal, feeling its warmth pulse against his skin. "She asked for warmth," he murmured, "but she gave me something far greater." And in that quiet moment, as the stars drifted past, Captain Elias Ward smiled, softly, but with the certainty of a man who knew he'd never be the same again.